kids were asking me all about David Montgomery, and I said, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I mean, this is good news. Is it legit news? I don't know. You know, the same thing with some of the other injuries. I mean, in a perfect world, and we talked about this the other day, I would love it if the Lions, they got a little help, okay? If the Commanders knocked off Philly, if either Seattle or Green Bay knocked off Minnesota, and that last game of the week means nothing, and then they get a week, and then maybe, just maybe, during that bye week in the first round of the playoff, you get some bodies back. But I don't know. It's wishful thinking right now. But let's be honest, Terry, with the enormity of all the injuries happening right now, to get even a modicum of potential good news, we all needed it.
Sure, and I have a philosophy, and this is why I'm not worried about the Lions. We've heard about, there's two groups out there, the real optimistic people, that's my team no matter what, and then there's the gloom and doom people. From following the NFL for many years, a team usually goes through 2 or 3 phases during the season. They may start out hot, and then they get into a funk, may have some injuries, and they kind of rebound again. So that's why I have the Lions are still on my radar with the possibility of making the Super Bowl and winning it. They're still on my radar for beating the Buffalo Bills again if they have a rematch, and Josh Allen, because we're talking about a game that's 6 weeks away. And first of all, yeah, you got to win these next 3 games. Then obviously you got to win these games in the playoffs. But I think the Lions, this is a different group. It's a pissed off group, which I'm happy to see. And it's a group that's going to get healthier. They can't get any more unhealthy. So I am not going to say the Lions are done. I don't believe that.
No, I'm with you. I'm not there yet. I think they built up such a line of credit. And Terry, go back to all the talking and yapping. This isn't a team that talks and tells you what it's going to do. This is a team that goes out there and does it.
But let me say this. If they had to play the Super Bowl today, probably get their asses kicked. But guess what? You don't have to play it today. You play it in February.
So, Spenny, what's your take on the whole Montgomery thing right now? I mean, listen, I've heard so many people, can Gibbs handle 20, 25 touches? I'm not thinking that way. Allow him to do that, mix in a little Reynolds, whatever the case may be. But what's your feel on this situation with Monty?
I don't know. I'm on the fence about it because it kind of feels like, hey, let's go to a doctor that tells me what I want to hear type deal. And I hope that's not what it is. I feel like it's not what it is. But because he did come in even after the injury, and he still made plays. He wasn't debilitated or anything. He had a couple nice catches and runs. But I think this is an important move for the Lions because you know they can only designate to return 8 players from IR each season. You get 2 more in the playoffs, but Jalen Reeves-Maybin would be the 5th player that they return from IR designation this year if he's able to come back or when he's able to come back. And you still got Anzalone. You know, you still got a couple other guys that you're hoping you can get back from IR. And then in the playoffs, you know, the big news is Hutch can return if they make the Super Bowl. So you want to keep those IR designations. They're obviously nobody thought like, yeah, there's no way a team would designate 10 players to return from IR in the same season. But the Lions are looking like they're going to be close to that number. So it's good that they don't have to put them on IR so they can keep that in their back pocket.
But isn't Montgomery just this tough-ass son of a bitch?
He is, too. I love Monty.
Yeah.
Right. He can go through anybody. He can overcome anything. He's, you know, we always say, athletes, they don't care. This guy cares. This guy wants to come back. This guy is willing to risk his future to help this team this year. So I think he needs to be applauded for that. But I just think that's the whole mentality he's had probably all of his career. That I'm just going to go through this wall. So he's probably had the same mindset. I'm going to go through this wall of pain, this wall of injury, this wall of whatever, because I see something that this team can do. He still sees it. He still sees a silver lining. And so if he thought the defense was going to be so bad that the Lions couldn't overcome it, you know, he said, screw it. I'm out. I'm going to save myself for next season. but he sees something that the rest of us do not see. So he's like, I'm going to risk life and limb to come back and help this team.
See, T, I'm with you. I am not ready to mail this season in any way, shape, or form. And I hope a majority of you aren't. I've heard enough of you saying, you can't overcome this, you can't overcome that. But I think you need to listen to Terry Foster here, okay?
But you know what? Let me Terry's gonna add one thing. I don't blame them for saying that.
No!
Because it looks
no.
bleak. I just happen not to believe it.
Well, and Terry, the logic that you bring to the table is just that. It's logic. It's not like these guys are all out. You are going to get some of these guys back. And God forbid you get even a few back. Do you like their chances? Do you like their chances as a 5 seed going to LA?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, that's like what are we talking about?
No doubt.
Worst case scenario, the Lions tumble out and finish 5, okay? Do you like their chances going to LA?
Yes.
You never know what you're going to get with the Rams. I mean, we've seen that. I mean, that's documented each. You had the Bills where they looked like an offensive juggernaut. I mean, they were a gosh damn arena football team. And you had that absolute shit show last week against a Niners team that has been mailing in for weeks. So, yeah, Terry, to that point, I think you're onto something there. I like their chances there. Is that the route I want to take? Absolutely not. But consider the source.
Well, Broham, I'll say this. I don't like their chances to go. I like their chances to go to LA and win. But I don't like their chances to go to LA and win, Minnesota and win, and Philadelphia and win.
Sure.
You gotta lump it all into one thing. I don't like their chances there, but I think, once again, you got a pissed off team. Yes, they're injured, but all
3
they have
winnable
to do-
games.
they don't have to beat the Bills this week. They got to beat the Chicago Bears.
Yep.
They don't have to beat Kansas City next week. They have to beat who the hell is it?
San Francisco.
The San Francisco 49ers.
Right. San Francisco, who
Debilitated.
is they're debilitated
Yep.
for real.
Yep. And that's and let's see what happens in a couple weeks. So, I mean, to me, that's the way I'm looking at it, Terry. It's like, all right, go beat 2 teams that are in total mail-in mode. Hope for some help from both Philly and Minnesota. And if you don't get the help, you know what? Take care of business against the Vikings at home.
That's all you gotta do. Destiny in your hand. That's all you can ask for as a professional franchise, to have the destiny in your own hand.
Yep, no doubt about that. So, I mean, we'll wait and see. It's nice to hear this stuff, and it is a far cry from the way things used to be. Make no mistake about that around here. But I can't help but always go back to what Dan Campbell said after the loss against Frisco last year. And I know nobody wanted to hear it at the time, Terry. It is not as easy as I think people make it out to be, especially, as well as I do, people think in linear terms. Well, they did this, and I blame the Pistons for that back when you were covering them. Because if you remember, there was we can't beat the Hawks, we beat the Hawks. Then there was we can't beat the Celtics, we beat the Celtics. Then there was we can't beat the Lakers, and they beat the Lakers. That was linear, but it doesn't work that way all the time.
Them many years to do that. It wasn't like in one season.
Right. It was step by step,
Right.
and it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. And I think that's all that Dan Campbell was saying last year.
And by the way, that team was one loss away from being broken up.
Isn't that amazing?
Yep. We never would have the bad boys, never have the back-to-back champions.
Amazing.
One game.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I think that's what Dan was saying. Who would have thought that the injury bug would have hit like this? I mean, this is insane. This is beyond the injury bug. This is like a pandemic with injuries. My goodness gracious. Nobody thought that. But I thought that Dan took a lot of heat for that last year, and I thought what he said was spot on, Terry. It's not as easy as people think it to when you get to that point. Ask the Buffalo Bills. Ask the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, everybody and their brother thought that those 2 teams, those were oh man, look, how many times is Buffalo going to get there? Oh, Lamar Jackson, they haven't been there.
Right. And in the NFL, just because you make the NFC Championship game doesn't mean the next step is going to be the Super Bowl the following season. It just doesn't work that way. How many times do you see teams get to the threshold and then disappear? This is not going to happen with this team because they're young. You know what? Let's say the Lions don't make the Super Bowl this year and win it. You can do it next year.
Yep.
and do it the year after. These just when we forget, and these guys are puppies. These are young guys. A lot of times when teams get up there and they disappear, everybody's at 28, 29, 30, and they're like, I gave my all, I can't do it. These guys still have a lot to give. So if the Lions don't accomplish your goals this year, they just do it next year. And then keep their fingers crossed that they don't get all this rash of injuries.
Spenny, I don't know if I told you this. I had two guys, the 2014 Lion team. Damn good team, right? Damn good
Very good team.
That defense, who can forget? I had two guys tell me they knew that was their window. They knew it. They knew that there was a year or two. If they didn't get it done in a year or two, they knew that they were going to start dismantling. And you knew what happened.
Yeah.
Including your boy walking away, Calvin walking away. And that's what happens. This isn't that. This isn't that. All right, we got more to do. Don't forget, it is a Nickel Package Friday. Talk a little bit about Jared Goff. Jared Goff doesn't play well in cold weather. What are we going to do?